You're looking at a wall mount garage door opener. Specifically, it's the LiftMaster 8500. And I'm pretty excited to try this because every now and then I do put a vehicle on this lift that I use as a table, and I put it in this bay, and sometimes if it's an SUV, the garage door opener kind of gets in the way. Now, I should be able to gain at least 10 inches of clearance, which doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, it really is. And if I remove the light or recess the light, I could gain even more. But this type of wall mount garage door opener means you can get rid of the garage door opener itself and the railing, and really the only thing that has to happen is the garage door wall mount unit itself gets mounted right here next to the bar. You could also put it on this side, but I'm going to choose to put mine right here, and that's pretty much all there is to it. Let's open up this box, take a look inside, see how it works, and see what we have to do to hook this thing up. Now, what you're looking at is the contents of that box, and this is pretty specific to the package that you buy. And I will put a link down below to this package. I bought it on Amazon, and there were some things or reasons why I bought this. And one was because it does come with a ceiling light. Now, obviously, hanging on the wall, there's really no place to mount a light. This model has a wireless ceiling mount. You just need to plug it into 110, and it operates like that. And my thoughts was I obviously don't want to put it above the bay where the car would be, but I definitely can put it somewhere in the center of the garage in the ceiling that would keep out of clearance, so to speak, of the lift itself. There is a mechanical door lock as well, and obviously your sensors, your laser sensors, so that you don't close it on something, or if an animal's underneath the door, it'll trip. You have your wall controller here, which is a little bit of an upgraded model. You can control the light from it. It also has a motion sensor on it. There is a coupler, because basically you just couple these drive shafts to the actual shaft up here on your garage. So you do have to have some clearance there. This needs to hang out enough so that you can mount that and reach it. Now, there are some tricks you can do. You can slide these bars left and right a little bit. Your average installer just hangs them out even on both ends, like it is mine. But there's still plenty there to be able to bite on for this particular coupler. There is the brackets for those beams right here. And then I assume this is some type of sensor. We'll find out, not 100% sure. There is also a quick release, because if you don't have power, you need to be able to still open and close your door. So this ties on, I believe, to this chain here, and when you pull that, you can now open and close the door. These are the mounts for the ceiling light, and then you have your instructions, warnings, and there's some template stickers here, and it should be pretty simple after that. So let's start mounting this thing and see how it works. Now, I've got to chuckle because I really thought doing this video I was going to be able to document the difficulties and how to install one of these, but man, it was just so incredibly simple, and it pretty much went without a hitch. Basically, you hang the garage door opener on the shaft that is across the top of your garage door, and there's a coupler up there that's just got, like 4 bolts, so to speak. You put the coupler on, you tighten the 4 bolts down, and then you don't even mount the back on the wall. There's just a little foot here on the side, and you just kind of screw that to the wall. They come with all the hardware, all the bolts, all the screws, everything you need, and that's all there is to mounting this. It's so much different than these guys where you got to hang them from a track, and then you got to get everything adjusted, and it's kind of a royal pain. These guys, you literally just mount them on the end of the jack shaft, give them a little bit of power, and run the appropriate wires, and you're good to go. Now, there are some differences, and I'll talk about those. Now, one of the biggest differences is there's a lock down here, and you have to have a lock, and all the lock does is it shoves a pin out that blocks one of the roller wheels, so you can't open the door up when the pin's out. It's all automatic. When you open the garage door, it automatically pulls away, and when the garage door is shut, it pushes itself back out. So you don't have to think about it once you mount it, but you really need this because really there's no way to lock this door. If you lock the shaft with the device, the cable's there and you should just be able to lift it. So that's why the manufacturer has put that lock down there. So it makes perfect sense. The other thing that's a little bit different is this sensor that I didn't know what it was. It's a tensioner sensor. It basically senses how much tension is on this cable. And when it gets sloppy, it goes back to the unit and lets it know it's sloppy. I'm assuming that's so like if the door is closed and there gets to be a lot of slop in here, it can shut itself down because it says, hey, there's no tension on it, so the door is closed. And it's probably also kind of a fault safe, so there's something wrong with the cable or something just happens to not feel right, it's going to shut itself down. But installing it was really simple. There really was no tricks to this. Now, this model, just like I think any other garage door sold on the market, has these beams that you set up on the bottom, and I really didn't have to aim them. I just kind of eyeballed them, and they worked out of the box. The controller that hangs on the wall has a little bit more features than my older one. You can actually program your other remotes through this remote, so you don't have to climb on a ladder and push a button the old school way. You just hold down this little program button, and then you take your other remote and you program it to it. Now, I did hang the light right in the center of the bays along the back wall. And I'm going to say it's also simple. It's wireless, but you do have to give it power. Now, I have mine going up through the ceiling floor there, and there's power up above it. So when I open and close that garage door, it does turn the light on and off. You can also turn the light on manually with this button over here if you need it, but I have enough light in my shop that I really don't need it. But it is a nice feature to have when you're coming home in the dark and you want to pull a car in. When you pop the garage door, the light does come on for a few minutes, just like any other garage door opener. Underneath this little lid is a couple of buttons, and those buttons are just to set the height and the lower distance. That's it. When you first set this up, you put it kind of in learn mode. You hold the black button till you get the door to the height that you want it, and then you save that, and then you hold the yellow button down here on the bottom until the door is closed, and that's how it knows how high and how low to lower the door. Now, the other thing I've noticed is how quiet it is. Actually, the door rattling itself makes most of the noise. Now, there is a motor hum, and you'll see that it slows itself down when it's near the top, and it also slows itself down right before it closes. So it's slowing down, and most of the noise is actually my garage door. It obviously needs oiled some. I was able to adjust it so that its height was right above the lip here, which is perfect because sometimes I pull my boat in and the windshields, that I need to push the door up to clear it. But with it being able to adjust right there, I won't have to do that anymore. The door is at its maximum height, which is a little bit taller than the opening itself. And again, it's really, really quiet. And pretty much the noise is a little bit of a motor whine and the noise of the door itself. And when it gets down towards the bottom, right before it closes, it slows down a little bit so it doesn't slam. And there you have it. And that click was the lock. Once it closes, it does put itself, back in lock mode. So some of the things that you need to think about before you upgrade is, do you have the space beside the garage door? Does your jack shaft up here stick out far enough that you can actually mount this to it? You need to make sure you have power to power it that's right above it, because most of us have power where the old garage door was. Now I was able to run a new outlet. It wasn't a big deal for me, but it's something you need to think about. And you also have to remember that your external light here also needs power. Now it does have a regular plug on it, so you can plug it into a standard outlet, but it needs to be near power for it to operate. No other wires are required because it does work wirelessly with the unit itself over here. Now, speaking of wireless, it said it was my MyQ, and I was all excited because I assumed that meant that I could tie it in with my existing MyQ doors. And no, you have to buy a part for it. It's about a $50 part, and it lets it kind of bridge to the internet. So I always thought MyQ meant it was internet ready, but apparently that is not the case. You do have to buy a separate device, unlike this garage door here with it all built in. Basically, out of the box, it works with MyQ without any issues. And our other garage doors, we used a bridge like this, and we were able to interface with them. But again, this guy, you have to buy another device, and it's about 50 bucks. So there you have my quick and dirty review of this type or style of garage door opener. Now, yeah, it costs a little bit more, but I think if you're trying to get a little bit of clearance out of your ceiling, it's a good option. And I also think the ease of installation might be worth it too. There really was no issues installing this. It was this extremely simple installation, and it definitely beats dealing with the old track systems that have to hang down low and everything like that. The hardest part really for me was just installing the outlet and get the hole drilled. So other than that, I think it's a great door opener, and hopefully this will help you guys decide if this is the way you want to go or not. If you like these types of videos, please like and subscribe. Take a look at some of my other videos, and at the very least, you might be entertained.